Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
We are creating conscious community by sharing mindful manifesting skills and transcendental music.
We are all in this together.
Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
She's Jai Lynn.
And he's Monte.
And we're here to deliver an experience
of mindful living.
Yes.
And mindful awareness.
Yes. And positive manifestation.
Yeah.
So that song we recorded, that you just heard, we recorded that a few years ago now. And
Shiva Love.
Shiva Love. What is Shiva about?
Shiva is one of the three main aspects of God. And the three main aspects are the creator or creation, the sustainer or maintaining, and the destroyer or the cleaning up of existence.
It almost sounds like a cycle.
Yes,
to
it
me.
is.
Starts, middle, and starts, middle, and starts.
Yeah. So Shiva's the end.
Oh, okay.
So this is this chant that we just heard is about putting trust into Shiva that you don't need to be afraid because if you're connected to the divine, then when the end comes, it'll be like being plucked from the cucumber vine is actually what the words are. May I be a sweet, ripe cucumber when you pick me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So this cycle of creation, sustainability, and then destruction, that could apply to a lot of things too.
Oh, yeah.
Not just like, boom, the end of the world.
Right.
But it could be just like humanity perhaps developing more love and less hatred. And the thing that gets destroyed is the hatred.
The hate cycle.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And, in the shamanic path, it's called the little shaman's death. Okay. And that's when an aspect of self is no longer the immature human who is wandering with no direction dies.
Yeah.
And the shaman is born as wise and knowing and so connected.
It's like a quantum leap in somebody's development.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what I'm looking for.
Good.
I think the way we make progress though is we have a number of these like little quantum leaps.
Yeah.
It's like nice to be dramatic and think that it all. I think some people do have dramatic, like Eckhart Tolle. He went to bed and he was feeling suicidal, but then he had this. It's sort of an interesting story. He said to himself, I can't live with myself anymore. And then in his mind, he's like, wait, I can't live with myself. There's two of me? What does that mean? And then it's like, his mind just like revved up like a vortex. He said, and he was scared, but he just let it happen. And something happened. And then he woke up and then he saw like the sun shining through the curtains and a light breeze. And he knew that like in the light, in the sunlight, that there was just so much more than he ever knew was possible. I mean, so he took like this major quantum leap into this. But you think of it, it's like two of us that does get back to the idea of cognition. Like we have two, which is metacognition, which is being the witness to our thoughts rather than self-identifying with our thoughts. That would be the two of us. And for Tolle, perhaps he was self-identifying with his thinking so heavily. And he was like this brilliant, like physicist, depressed dude with tons of anxiety. Right? And then boom, one night of just like, who knows what happened, but something happened. Everything got tossed around in his mind.
Very much a Shiva experience.
Yeah, right. And he woke up and bam, at that point, he's identifying with the consciousness that projects the thought instead of the thought itself. So he was self-identifying with his reality, with what is really him, I would argue. And that's what I've been reading this this Russian author. I read some of it to you. And Ouspensky or something like that. And that's what he gets at too. He said most people, if they identify with their thinking, they're asleep because it's just the old patterns that just keep, and then the projector never changes. And the old patterns just keep occurring over and over and over and over. And we keep creating the same stuff and the same thoughts and the same self-talk and the same situations. And we keep attracting the same people into our lives and nothing changes. And our philosophy stays the same and da-da-da-da-da. But then once according to this Russian dude, then once we self-identify with the consciousness behind the thoughts, at that point we're awake. You see, and we're not asleep anymore. But if we self-identify with the thoughts, it's just there's no shift.
Right. There's no need to.
There's no possibility of it because it just keeps happening, and then our groove gets deeper and deeper, and then we keep attracting the same situations. And we're like, see, I knew it. I knew all those people were this way. Right. And we just keep creating it more.
Self-prophecy?
Self-fulfilling prophecy. That's a big deal.
It is.
That's huge. And it's real. And
that brings awareness to the idea of manifestation. Because if we are geared towards self-fulfilling prophecy, which we are, then becoming aware of the one thinking can change that cycle of manifestation because you're no longer thinking the same way.
It's true, man. If we're stuck in our old patterns and our old habits, of course we're going to be manifesting the same stuff. Essentially, I think that's what you're saying. And but if we self-identify with the source of the thinking, then it gets fun because then we get to choose sort of how we want to shift our manifesting abilities. Perhaps
for sure.
At least we can experiment with trying to manifest new stuff, new situations.
We are the ultimate experiment for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's, my biggest joy of everything that I've done so far in this life has been me aware that I am my own experiment.
Okay.
As an adult, like for my whole adult life, I've been aware of this as my truth and what I believe to be the truth of all humanity is that we are our own experiment.
Yeah.
But we can't, like you're saying, we're not in control of that experiment until we're in control of that experiment. Like we don't know that we can do anything about it until we know we can do something about it.
Right. And once we have that realization that, I can do something about it, then we're stepping into the realm of empowerment. Because we have say at that point. But until then, there's no freedom because it's just the old patterns running it. And that's
we become a slave to our own consciousness.
Yeah, and then we can't get out of it unless we can have the will or have the insight to shift our perspective. It's like change our lens of perception.
I do feel like I just want to send some love out there to our listeners because what we're saying is not meant to be a judgment, and I think that when we're in that process of waking up and being the witness to our thought patterns, to our manifesting patterns, to our self-fulfilling prophecies, it is no way a judgment.
No.
It is just a possibility to learn and heal and grow.
Well, it's very human. I mean, it's something I'm constantly falling back into old habits and patterns. But then I'll try and shake myself out of it.
Yeah.
That's what kind of our mindfulness on the fly stuff is. It's ways of shaking us out of the old patterns and giving us more clarity in our mind and more peace.
Yeah, yesterday, Monte was talking to me about, don't you talk about being heart-centered and and meditating from your heart, and isn't that like your message? And I was like, yeah, but I haven't been meditating on it lately because I don't have enough time, and I'm on my spiel of not having enough time, which is where I go a lot. And he's like, but you could like do that like throughout the day. and I was like, all right. Yeah, you're right. I could do that throughout the day, but it's a lot easier to think it like, oh yeah, I can think about this. And it's another thing to actually implement these tools into daily life. For me, it's so much easier to set a timer and sit on my cushion.
well, yeah. I mean, and you've been doing, the meditation and the yoga and the chanting for years, and you've had a lot of positive.
Oh yeah.
Talk about shaking up old patterns.
Yeah.
I mean, we all struggle with old patterns still.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That's maybe where I'm at, is I'm just pretty clearly aware of my old patterns, but actively engaged in this like kind of MMA, this mental martial arts thing. Just, I mean, it's easier sometimes and it's harder sometimes.
Yeah, totally. And I feel the need to speak to the reality of this being a lifelong process.
Yeah.
And last week I was speaking with someone about that, and they were like, well, why would I do it if it's such hard work? And I was like, because what else is there to do?
Yeah.
And I found myself trying to convince this person that it was a worthwhile endeavor to take on a lifelong journey.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know if I failed or succeeded.
That's interesting.
In my own mind, I realized that I want to say I'm weird because I say that, but I'm different. I'm unique in the sense of when somebody tells me, oh, this is going to be a lifelong process, I'm like, cool. Well, maybe I can make it shorter. Like something inside of me, because I want to hit that place where I'm like, I did it. Now I get to sit back and relax. I grew, I learned all I need to learn. Now I
thought
get
you meant
to sit
cut
back
your
and
life
relax.
shorter.
No, cut the lifelong process shorter so it's not actually lifelong.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's that A student in me that.
Yeah. It is quite the process. But one thing that motivates me, and this is like a belief I've had for a while, is all we really have is how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We can surround ourselves with the nicest stuff and the nicest whatever, the nicest car. And,
well, you may or may not be able to.
Well, I mean, yeah, but all we really have is how we feel.
I know, and that's
what really, has motivated me throughout the years. When I started these practices, and I would practice for a little bit, and I would feel good afterwards. I was like, oh,
mm-hmm. That's how it was for me too.
Okay, I want to feel this way. It's in a way, it's like self-medicating, but just through training.
Meditation.
Yeah, through training, whatever it is.
Chanting, playing music, mindful movement.
Just being in that place of metacognition, of observing my thoughts. That's the thing. It's like you take this with you wherever you go.
Mm-hmm. That's like the mastermind. I wanted to say wizard mind, but then it was like, well, maybe not. Maybe it's more of the master, because when you can master your mind, then that's where the mindfulness on the fly comes in much easier, and definitely not where I'm at yet. But there's the need to master the mind, see it functioning, and then move some wheels and tweak the process.
Well, you become the director.
Yeah.
You can work directly with the projector of the thoughts rather than the projection.
Change the reel.
Yeah, right. Totally.
And I didn't even mean to make a pun, but I did. I made a pretty good one. Change the reel.
Yeah, change your reality.
Yeah.
By changing your thinking, or thinking less, perhaps. That's another important component of mindful living, is to not to think too much. That's the thing. We're so heady. We're so intellectual in this culture. And in a lot of ways, that's a great thing. But in some ways, it holds us back because we don't have enough space. I mean, if we're going to have like a new thought, that comes when the mind is still.
Right.
And then a new thought comes in. It's like, oh, eureka. You know?
Solution, innovation.
But if we're just pounding an idea into the ground over and over and over, ruminating, then all we get is agitated and frustrated. But if we have the skill and the ability to quiet the mind, that's when, boom. It's like, what was it, Newton, or I think it was Sir Isaac Newton, like at least the kind of the story around it was he was sitting under an apple tree and an apple hit him on the head and it like stunned him, quieted his mind. Then he's like, eureka!
Gravity!
Yeah, right. Something like that.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Here we are. So how do you get to that stillness?
How do I? Deep, long exhale. Is one way. Another way, I don't know. I've been doing this really funny love practice because I'm professionally, I'm a therapist, and I'm really working on myself primarily to help cultivate my mind garden. My mind garden. And that's how I'm trying to shift patterns, essentially. Because I know some of these old patterns take up space in my mind garden, and I'm working on weeding them out slowly. And one of the ways to work with my mind garden, though, is to plant aspects of myself that I want to grow. And so I've really been into the idea that, love is the answer. And so I'm trying to plant more love into my mind garden. And a practice I've been using to do this, well, it's kind of a twofold practice. One is I'm trying to be moderate with my screen time. I've noticed when I'm moderate, when I'm like taking a Facebook fast, for example, I'm more effective at pulling off this practice I'm about to describe, because my mind's just more settled a bit naturally, but the practice is, if I'm walking down the street, walking through my kitchen, I'll just start noticing things, and I'll look at something and I'll be like, oh, the ladder. I love that ladder. And then, the floor. I love the floor. The cat. I love that cat. That piece of that dust bunny on the ground underneath the kitchen table. I love that dust bunny. I mean, and the more I'm able to do that, so I kind of force that, right? I'm like, I'm going to do this, so I'm going to do it. So, but then as I keep going with it, my mind starts deepening a bit. And then I start noticing, oh, I love that tire. And then my mind will go to a place, well, why do you love that tire? It took like so many humans to create this tire, and some like human way long ago found out about rubber, and somebody else found out about a circle, and somebody, it's just like there's just millions of people that go into like all this man-made stuff that's everywhere. And I've noticed, if I can notice this stuff from a place of love, that I feel better. Okay. And I can walk past a piece of garbage on the ground and be like, I hate that garbage. I could pick it up angrily and throw it in the garbage can. Or I could see it and pick it up and, oh, I love this. I love this piece, this old can, because so many humans went into this, and look at that. Somebody like drew that design and just the whole thing. Somebody created the paint, and shipped through a truck and whatever. There's like all this effort, all this. But if I can look at that piece of garbage with love and then throw it away. And I feel better. It's like every time I look at something and have like this irritated perspective around it, I kind of like feel this like little dip into a depressed state. Even though if I don't totally get there, but there's this energy that's just, ooh.
I've definitely been struggling with depression lately.
Yeah, me too, for sure. And this seems to be a really effective practice, this love practice at just helping me, I don't know. Well, for sure, it helps me see the good. It helps me appreciate things for what they are. And in no way is it going to weaken me. It's not like I'm going to love some like evil things and like become all distorted and weird. It's not that way. I'm discerning, but it comes down to being discerning rather than judgmental, number one, and but being open to love. And every time I can say that, I'm growing this habit of love in my mind garden. So the plot starts increasing. And we only have so much room. We each have so much room in our mind garden. It's not like this infinite space. It's like, no, we have a plot that we can work with. And it's up to us, if we want to take it on, to cultivate that plot. And to weed out the unproductive habits and to plant productive habits. And so, I work with the love thing. I work with my gratitude plot as well, through thank you practice. So there are, I work with forgiveness. I'm trying to, have a solid plot of forgiveness in my mind garden. And they all work together. And anyway.
Nice.
That's been my last few weeks.
I'm glad. Yeah, my last few weeks. So for the New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah.
My, what is it called? My wish, come on, help me out. New Year's resolution. Thank you.
Yeah.
My New Year's resolution was to not strive this year, because my game with myself is to be going 110% at all times for my main mission of like helping the culture shift.
Yeah.
And that's like my main mission, and I never have enough time, and I'm always striving.
Yeah.
So for this New Year's resolution, I was like, okay, I'm done striving. I'm not going to strive anymore. I'm going to flow.
Yeah.
Hence Mindflow Radio. That is our goal, right? We're trying to flow.
Mindflow.
But trying being the key word, because you either flow or you don't, right? And so I always tend towards striving. And so, the first quarter of the year, I feel like I had it in my mind. I still struggled, but the second quarter of the year, I would say I completely failed at not striving. And I just hit the ground running and trying. It's like sometimes I feel like I'm on a soapbox screaming at the top of my lungs for no reason. And it's like, okay, stop. And if my message is to live from the heart, then, live from the heart.
Yeah. Teach by example.
Walk the walk, talk the talk. Or is that how you walk the talk? Anyway. So I am trying. It's hard to take trying out of the vocabulary. I am making space for more flow in my life.
All right.
And yet at the same time noticing how little that space is. And that causes me to fall into depression here and there, because why is this so hard? Whereas the mindfulness on the fly is not as easy for me. Like I was saying earlier, I'm just so much better at having my daily practices, and I'm really good at it. Well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes I don't do them, and then I feel even more depressed because I didn't take the time for myself to do what I know makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And though I know about the mindfulness on the fly, and though I know that that's a part of flow,
yeah,
it has been very hard for me to instill these as habits. I'm working on it, though.
Yeah, good. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's always the ratchet effect. 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
3 steps forward, 2 steps back. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. But then 5 steps forward.
Yeah.
You know, so at the end of the day, over 2 years, you made progress.
Yeah.
You know, and just, we got to be kind to ourselves because it's those old habits just hang on. And what I'm hearing you say perhaps is like one of the old habits is for your mind to get busy and you just be striving, thinking, planning, plotting, you know, and then that leads to like, you know, kind of agitation. Because things don't always go as you want. And it's just like you might get caught in some rumination. And we had this funny incident. I'm just going to describe this. We were in the kitchen. And I can't remember exactly most of the details, but there was some agitation going on.
Yeah.
And then we're walking through the kitchen, and I just said, "I love you, fly swatter," because I was looking at the fly swatter and I was doing my love practice. And sometimes at home I say it out loud, you know, and that really shifted the energy.
I just cracked up, yeah. And then I was like, "You better love me more than you love that fly swatter."
No doubt.
That was so funny. Yeah, so Monty is just such a wonderful example for me because he just lives it all the time. No. In my eyes, he does it. And so it's just so funny when he starts going into the "I love you, milk jug." And I'm just like,
It's not like I do that much either. But it's mostly internal. And this is a new practice for me too. Yeah. Just saying. So I might just fail at it, but I might succeed at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's a great attempt.
Well, it helps me talking about flow. You know, I believe that the way to get into flow is to have like a really healthy balance between thinking and awareness. Mm-hmm. So between the analytical part of the mind and the stillness part of the mind. And for me, love is a really effective way at finding stillness. Mm-hmm. Really.
Yeah.
You know, because then I'm not examining things and trying to pick out their faults. My mind, it helps my mind just be more still and be more relaxed. And, you know, I had somebody tell me earlier this year, he had some number, in 200 billion years, the sun is going to get bigger and swallow the earth. So none of this really matters. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. You know, because relative to an infinite timeline, 200 billion years is actually a very short blip.
In 100 years.
Oh, I know. Like and that's what we're looking at.
A blip of a blip.
100 years, man. It's a flash of lightning. That's our lifetime. So I think love is a great easy way to get into the flow state. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's the state where we're able to really ideally manifest positive things in our life. You know, and that's the thing about manifesting. It's like we're all super powerful manifestors. Mm-hmm. Each of us, all of us. Mm-hmm. I think that's our God-given right. We're these miraculous, mystical beings, all of us. And I think we just need to come to grips with that, really. And I'm a mystical, magical being. Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Oh, so is that person? Oh, wait, what? No, that person's bad. No, man. I mean, if you just start looking at, we're these mystical, magical beings, but we're all confused. Mm-hmm. So we don't realize it. That's the thing of it. And the more confused we are, perhaps the more like terrible karmic things we can do, you know. I mean, but we wreck our own we can wreck our own karma if we're confused enough. And
what goes through my mind is kind of my definition of love.
Yeah.
And it's a blend of acceptance and compassion, respect, and
yeah.
It's not necessarily like butterflies in my heart or anything. It's more of an appreciation and an understanding that we're all in different planes, we're all in different levels of awakening, we're all in different densities. I remember back in the day when we were talking about the grids, like the density grids, kind of
levels of energy.
Yeah, levels of energy and the collective consciousness and how we, when I'm in a state of depression, I know I'm connecting with everybody else who's feeling depressed and wrestling with that and then like seeing the world with those goggles on, or that density of frequency and so when we use love as a way of lifting our frequency, then we can see the levels of frequency that are in those depth ranges and be okay with them.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, we can be okay with it, but we can also do our utmost to help humanity evolve out of those levels just by creating. Well, and it comes down to the superstring theory, really, where the smallest, everything is made of these like vibrational strings of energy. Everything. That's what reality is. And through our consciousness, we create these strings of energy. And that's why it's just so important that I believe that for myself, that I'm creating as much love, superstring energy as possible, because that emanates out of me into the world and connects with other. And to me, by the way, the definition of love is, I think it's just a oneness. I'm one with humanity. I love all humanity. I mean, there's different types of love. My love for you is like this special romantic love, right? Not like the love for the fly swatter.
Thank God.
But that's a different kind of love, I mean, and essentially too, is string theory. We are all one because it's like it's one big energetic kind of ball of superstrings interacting, and there's these different dimensions of strings, and love perhaps is one of those dimensions. And so anger is one of those dimensions. Depression perhaps is some kind of dimension. But the interesting thing about superstring theory is the math behind it. And I'm talking super high level physics. This is not woo-woo, but the math behind superstring theory shows that there are 10 dimensions of strings.
Are those dimensions or depths?
They call them dimensions, but it's probably just a different wavelength. So all the hippy dippy frequency talk is true.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
If superstring theory is true.
Right.
Which it fairly likely is. Well, I mean, in science, they can't even prove it yet because they don't have advanced enough equipment
That's the nature of science, right? That it's always growing and evolving into more that we understand and more that we can comprehend. And as we can comprehend more, then we understand more, and our science becomes more detailed. And so, science evolves too.
It does. And I think it's evolved past its, it might be in teenagerhood by now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Soon it'll be mature someday.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe when we're in the middle of the golden age. But Anywho, I do want to thank everyone out there for listening with us and contemplating love and the mind garden and frequencies and string theory. I think the cool thing about super string theory, as you say it, is the piece that he shared with me recently that makes me understand it as a super string theory as well, is the joining of the Taoist philosophy of heart mind.
Oh, yeah.
And the string theory of when we combine the heart mind strings, then they're super. So that's how I understand it to be super string now.
Yeah. And the Taoists do have a term called heart mind.
Mm-hmm.
And they believe if we live in a certain way, we're able to access that heart mind. And so that helps motivate.
Especially when they love fly swatters.
I'm just beginning on this path.
Oh, I know. You're going to be floating away and be holding onto your foot like, oh, I'm not ready for you to float away yet. All right, y'all. So we're going to share with you a song meditation. It really fits in well with what we've been talking about today, and it's called Interconnected. And we it's a 11/8 time signature, and it's very chill. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a great October, great Libra season. Big shout out to all my Libra family and all humans going through the Libra season and witnessing how we relate with the world, how we relate with ourselves, how we are in balance and harmony with ourself and the other. So I hope you have a great Libra reflection time over these next few weeks, and hug a Libra. They're very loving.
Unless they're mad.
Unless they're mad. And then you can't hug them because they're very upset. All right. Thanks to WGRT for hosting Mindflow Radio.
And thank you, James, for manifesting this WDRT.
So
nice job.
Be kind and notice what you're manifesting. Be kind to yourself by noticing what you're manifesting, and you can always tweak it. It's not permanent until it's in the physical realm. And even when it is in the physical realm, we can still change the course of events. So
that's it. Notice your self-talk.
All right. Be well, y'all. Waters of the earth flow through my veins. 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 Interconnected, all in this together. Interconnected, part of you, and you are a part of me. I am a part of you, and you are a part of me. I am a part of you, and you are a part of me. I am a part of you. You are a part of me. Waters of the earth flow through my veins. Breathing deeply and fully into the heart. Allowing the focus to rest on the heart. Taking time to contemplate love, what are the kinds of love? What do these realms of love feel like? When I think about love, where do I feel it in my body? Can love be the answer for me right now? How do I be a vibration of love? What does the love plot in my mind garden look like? Bringing awareness back to the breath, back to the heart chakra. And if energy is beyond time and space, then in this very moment, we are all together and we can focus on sending out a vibration of love, a frequency of love across the world, to each other and to all of the souls walking on this earth in physical bodies. And imagining that everyone listening at this very moment, and everyone who has ever listened to this, is here in this moment. And inhaling into the heart and exhale out to the hands. Inhale into the heart, exhale out to the hands. And as you're breathing, building the energy in your hands. As the energy in your hands becomes stronger, then feel that you are sending out the vibration of love is overflowing from you, straight from your heart center and from your hands. And it is reaching across the globe, sending out a frequency of love. And as it goes out across the globe, it comes back to you. And you're receiving from everyone else who is listening at this moment and who has ever listened. You're open to receive this frequency of love that we're all sending each other. And just taking the next few breaths to receive this vibration of love. Thank you. 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 Thank you.